Welcome to the Press Row from the Pubco Studios here in Oklahoma City. I'm Barry Tramel, sports editor Mike Sherman, sitting in for Jenny Carlson, and our show is sponsored by Papa John's. Better pizza, better ingredients, and today we got a lot to talk about, and 5 on 5 is what we'll start with. 5 questions, 5 answers, 5 minutes. Let's get to it. Hey boss, is ESPN's hype machine at play in all this Kevin Durant to the Wizards talk?
I think ESPN's hype machine is in play on everything on the sports calendar, ledger, everywhere. It's all about ESPN's hype machine, and I would say yes. However, it doesn't really serve ESPN or anybody outside of the Beltway for Kevin Durant to go to Washington. It really serves ESPN if they go to New York, if he goes to the Los Angeles, somewhere big like Houston. The ESPN doesn't really make out that well, Barry, if he ends up back in his hometown. It's a great narrative this summer only because of what LeBron James did.
I think the answer is no. I haven't noticed that ESPN is blowing it up any more than anybody else, including us here in Oklahoma City. We seem as worked up about it as anybody, even more so than ESPN. So I don't know that ESPN is hyping this up. I think they're covering it. I think they're talking about it. It's something to talk about on a slow summer day, but we're not following in their dust. I think maybe they're following in ours. All right, another question about Kevin Durant. Do you wish Kevin Durant was not playing with Team USA in the World Cup this year? He's already in Vegas for the camp. He'll be headed out for more basketball. Do you wish he was resting that body?
No way. It's the middle of summer. We need stuff to write about. So Kevin Durant is out doing press conferences in the desert, talking about stuff like Washington, Oklahoma City. I mean, granted, Barry, people are asking Kevin about this. He's not calling these press conferences himself. He's answering questions, but what he's saying is interesting. What he's saying, people are following closely. It beats the heck out of reading stories about Derrick Rose's recovery.
Well, I'm going to say, yes, I wish he was not playing for the U.S. for this reason. You're right. We need stuff to write about in the summer, and guess when the summer includes? The month of June. I'd like to see the Thunder playing in the NBA Finals. I think more rest is going to help Kevin Durant. I worry about him wearing out with that body. Summer after summer of repeated play could be an issue with Kevin Durant as he gets older and older. All right, another question about the summer. Is August the worst sports month in the calendar?
I'm going to say yes. I remember we used to look at it for all the college football build-up, and perhaps there was a lot of interesting stuff out of that, but that's all flipped. We do college football build-up, starting back in June. There's nothing magical about August anymore about college football. All the preview stuff, we've been talking about it for months. What I'd like to see, I think it's the worst month there is. What I'd like to see to fix it though, Barry, is for the NBA to flip. Do what the NFL does. Do free agency first, move the draft back, and we'd be talking about the draft right now. Hop for that, but it's the worst sports month in my opinion.
Well, I'm going to say no because of the early start of football. The last 2 years, last year and this year, August 30, August 31st, we actually have a Saturday of college football. So I can't call that the worst sports month. If it wasn't for that, if we started in September, I think August qualifies, then it would be nothing but football practice and the PGA. But you throw in a weekend of college football, and I've got to say August trumps, I guess, the month of July, where we do talk about NBA free agency, which is fun, but it's just talk. All right, who starts at tailback for OSU? Desmond Rowland or Tyreek Hill?
I'm going to go with Des Rowland. It just doesn't sound like Mike Gundy to go with a guy who has never played for the Cowboys. I think they're going to give Tyreek Hill the Tavon Austin treatment, and I think if all the other defenses in the Big 12 and maybe Florida State agree to employ Mike Stoops' game plan from West Virginia, they might just put Tyreek Hill back there and see if he can gain 10 yards without anybody touching him while the linebackers run back and play free safety. But I don't see it happening. Des Rowland's a proven tailback. I think that's the way Gundy's going.
I think it's going to be Tyreek Hill, and maybe I'm just jaded by spring where it was clear that they were trying to force feed Hill into tailback, get him ready. Desmond Rowland's an excellent tailback. I think he's ready for the call if he needs to be the bell cow back there. 15, 20 carries a game. I think he can do it, but I think they love Tyreek Hill and that speed. I think they're intrigued by two things. One is Tavon Austin and the way he was able to be used at West Virginia, bringing him out of the backfield. It's easier to bring a guy out of the backfield into the passing game than bringing a slot guy into the running game. I think Tyreek Hill is the guy at tailback. And also, I just think they really like that element of speed and keeping defenses off balance. I think you'll see Tyreek Hill start a lot of plays at tailback. He may be by the snap, he may be on the perimeter, but I think you'll see him line up at tailback a ton. And with Joe Mixon obviously in limbo, who starts at tailback for the Sooners?
Barry, this one stumped me a bit because, which to me is a testimony of how important Joe Mixon was to the OU's game plan. Who knows, may still be eventually. But I really struggle with this. Keith Ford's the guy who wound up in the doghouse because he fumbled. Alex Ross, we hear stuff about. Brendan Clay was the bell cow. You started appreciating how good Brendan Clay was when you look at this question. I'm going to go with Keith Ford. The hype, him running over Jordan Phillips, him showing flashes of brilliance. Guy who's a powerful back. I'm going to go with him, if not Joe Mixon.
I am going to go with a freshman who's not named Joe Mixon. I'm going to go with Samaje Perine because I spent the time to learn how to pronounce his name, Samaje Perine, and I'm not going to learn to say the name without saying it, that he'll start. I do think Keith Ford's an excellent prospect. I think Alex Ross has a chance as well, and I think Samaje Perine will be in there as well. I personally think it's going to be a three-headed monster with nobody really standing out in terms of excessive playing time or carries. But if you make me pick, I'm going to go with the pronunciation, Samaje Perine. That's do it for this 5 in 5 on Press Row. We've been sponsored by Papa John's. Better pizza, better ingredients. Stay tuned for further Thunder coverage and college football coverage here on News OK and every day in the Oklahoman.